Hey guys, it's Melanie. Happy Tuesday. I hope your day is off to a good start. Today I'm coming at you with a video that I think if I were to do the same video 6 months or a year from now, I kind of feel like my answers would mostly be the same with the exception of maybe one or two of these things. But it's a really interesting thing to think about, especially if you are someone who has an extensive makeup collection, someone who really likes variety. And I mean, this can also be anxiety producing because you have to think about if like all of your makeup disappeared, what would be like the first 5 or the 5 most important things that you would immediately replace. If all the stuff just went away, what would you do? If you went back to Sephora or Ulta or wherever and you're like, these are the 5 things that I need. I lost everything. I need these things. These are my 5 things. So that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. The makeup that if everything went away, someone came into my house, stole all this crap, if I don't know, if there was a flood and all this stuff like got lost in the flood or whatever, these are the things that I would have to have. So we're gonna get into it. Before we do though, you guys, look at my center part. I feel so modern with my center part. Did you guys know that you're not supposed to do a side part anymore? I feel like this has been a thing for like a few months now, but yeah, the millennials don't like the side part. So I thought today when I was done blow drying my hair, instead of just kind of letting it fall towards its natural part, I would part it down the middle. And I don't know how I feel about this. First off, everything wants to like keep getting stuck in my lip gloss with this dew. But yeah, anyway. All right, let's get into the makeup. This is what we're here for. I want to know what your 5 things would be in the comments down below. So let me know down there what you would immediately replace. Okay, I'm going to start with my number 1. And I bet some of you already know what is here in front of me. And we'll see if some of you put it down in the comments below what you think is on my list. First, it is this. Of course it's this. First off, I love eyeshadow. Eyeshadow is probably one of my favorite makeup items to just play around with. I could sit for hours and do color combinations or blend or create simple eye looks or dramatic eye looks. I could just play with eyeshadow for hours. It's probably why I have way more eyeshadow palettes than I could ever reasonably finish in a lifetime. But it's fun, right? Like this is what is fun for me when it comes to makeup, is playing with it and creating new looks. And one of my favorite things to play with since the moment that I got it in the mail, I purchased this from Sephora when it was first released, is the Viseart Grand Pro 1. Now, they did re-release this and they changed some of the shades and kind of switched things around a little bit, but the new one that they came out with is equally as amazing and beautiful, and I would happily have that one as well. But I have the original here. The Viseart Grand Pro 1 was one of my more expensive palettes, but it has been so worth it over the time that I've had it. First off, it's all mattes. It has such a good selection of like skin tone shades, crease shades, liner shades, colorful shades, neutral shades. It's all matte. These blend like a dream. They stay put all day. They're just beautiful shadows, you guys. You know how I feel about these. I feel like there is nothing else that I could say about this palette that would just do it any additional justice. It's just beautiful, and it is the one that I reach for all the time. When I don't know what makeup to do, I just grab this and take a couple of these shades and just like put them on, and they're perfect. They're always hands down perfect. And if I didn't have this as like my immediate go-to, I feel like it would stress me out. I love this. It's hella expensive to buy all of these. You can certainly put together a Viseart palette of your choice. Like if you know that there are at least like 15 shades in here that you would be like, yeah, no, I'm never gonna use that, don't buy this. But for me, I have used pretty much all of these. The only shades that I have not is, I've even used this kind of reddy pink shade here. It's so pretty. But this kind of poop colored, it reminds me of baby poop. This is the one that I would not. And in fact, you know what? I have a shade that I can pop in here. That would be perfect for that spot right there. So maybe I'll do that. But anyway, I love this. I'll put links for these down below. If you want to go read up more about them, read other people's reviews, I always put that information down there. Okay, second, and this is also something that would probably never change unless she finally goes out of business at some point, which I'm constantly fearing. I love this powder foundation. It is still my favorite. It is not the best color match to my skin, but I make it work because of the finish, the way that it looks on my skin, the way it wears on my skin, the glow that it gives me, despite being a powder foundation. It's Laura Geller, it's Balance and Brighten. I talk about this all the time. It is the one powder foundation that I always go back to. I try lots of different powder foundations, and there are some fantastic powder foundations out there, and I've done lots of videos about that. But this is the one that I always come back to. In fact, right now, I only have backups of the porcelain shade. So that makes me really nervous because, yeah, this is it. And I go through these. I mean, I go through several of these a year, despite having all of my other powder foundations that I use. Like, I go through so many of these because it's the one that just I kind of grab for automatically. You know, like when you open your makeup drawer and you're like, man, that. Like, this is one of those things that immediately, if I don't want to think about what I have to do to my face, I grab this. It evens out my complexion. I do have to color correct it just a little bit, but that's super easy for me to do. It's just such a beautiful formula, and I hope it never goes away. This particular powder foundation starts its life off as a cream product that is piped onto these terracotta tiles, and then it's baked. And I think that's what makes it so magical, is it starts its life out as a cream, and it's baked, and then it turns into this beautiful powder foundation that you can just put on. And I like, look at the finish of my skin. I love it. It's not too flat. It's not too matte. It's just beautiful. And I love it. I have a shade Fair. They have a few, sorry, I'm sitting on an exercise ball. And it's like, I'm wearing shorts today and it's sticking to my legs, you guys. It's really uncomfortable. I don't normally wear shorts. And now I remember why, because when you sit on things like plastic, it just sticks to your skin. Anyway, Fair is my shade and I love it. All right. If I could, I would replace this entire blush palette, but I cannot. So the main thing, this was a limited edition holiday release from Hourglass. It was several years ago, but I love this particular blush palette. I know I can't replace this, but what I can replace in here that I absolutely love, that is one of my favorite blushes that I could probably get away with using year-round, but that I love the most during the fall and winter months, is Mood Exposure. This one right here. It's the beautiful, like, plummy mauve. This is one of my favorite shades for my cheeks because it just is, it's so pretty with my gray hair. It works with my complexion. Mood Exposure works with so many of the different makeup looks that I do, and I feel like I could just get away with using that one blush and I would be so content. The finish of the ambient lighting blushes from Hourglass is to die for. It is not too much shimmer or shine. It is a true glow, like a lit from within glow that you get from these. They wear forever on my oily skin, and they're pigmented, but they're also easy to work with and to build up when you want to, or to tone down when you just want something just very like polished and pretty. I just love them. And this particular palette, I really hope that Hourglass comes out with a holiday blush palette that is this format. I'm really tired of the tiny, tiny little itty bitty pans because most of those, in fact, all of those are like face powder products, right? Like they are highlighters, they're blushes, they're bronzers. It's really hard to get a bronzer brush into a tiny little pan that is the size of a quarter without also picking up potentially blush or highlighter from the shades around. I want something like this where my blush brush fits in here perfectly and I can pick it up, but I'm not picking up the shades next door. You know, like this works. This works. Tiny, tiny. I know it's still a fair amount of product and it would take me a while to get through it. It's just that it's not as convenient. So I really want to see Hourglass come back with these bad boys for the holidays. Do this with different highlighters, do this with different blushes, do this some kind of way. Just stop with the tiny pans, Hourglass. Distracted. Also, you guys, my contour. I love to contour my face. I think that it makes a big difference for my particular face because I have a very round face and I'm a rather substantial individual. I am not dainty. And so, you know, I love my head. Believe me, like I'm not knocking my head, but it is a very round face. And for me, I like some angles in my face. So contouring is a big thing for me pretty much every day. Even if I'm just doing a very simple eye look, I always contour my cheekbones and I contour the sides of my nose because I think it makes my face look a little bit more slender and not quite as just like boom face, you know? Like it just adds some angles. I like angles. I just was not born with any, so I have to paint them on. The Kevyn Aucoin, the sculpting powder in the shade medium is hands down my go-to, and it has been for a little while. I think I've gone through 2 or 3 of these. This is the most beautiful contour powder that I've ever used. It just is the perfect shade for me. It looks like it's a dirt colored shade, like it's very like ashy, and it doesn't look appetizing at all, but it is perfect for contouring because it just adds that little bit of shadow. I can really build this up if I want to do like some dramatic contouring or for just like everyday, super simple, pretty, just a little tiny bit of this on the contour brush of my choice, and then that, and then a little bit down the sides of my nose, and I am good to go. I love this contour powder. I don't like to be without this. I would replace it immediately. I sure would. And then the last thing, I was trying to decide between a lip product or a mascara. I feel like I could get away with just using like a chapstick or something for a little bit. I would probably end up replacing a lot of my lip products immediately. But one of the things that, again, makes a difference on my face, even more so than putting on like lip liner and lipstick, I think for me, my face needs mascara. I need mascara on my eyelashes because otherwise my eyes just kind of, I feel like they disappear into my head. This brings out my eyes, it defines them, and I love this particular formula. I have used this for a number of years. It is always a great option. I could also go and get, like I could totally just go to the drugstore and get the Clump Crusher or the CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume. So I could do these 2 either, but if I'm gonna be at a store like Sephora or Ulta or a place like that, I might as well just pick this up. So it's the Wander Beauty Unlashed Volume and Curl Mascara. I don't need to worry about curling my lashes. I know a lot of people always ask me about the curling power of this. I don't know. Luckily my lashes grow up instead of out or down, so I don't even use an eyelash curler. But I do know that this gives me beautiful, separated, clump-free lashes that don't flake, they don't smudge, they don't transfer. I feel like this mascara really holds up for me. And I love a natural bristle brush, which is one of the reasons why I picked this one. And it's just, it's perfect. It has that kind of like S curve to it there that you can see. It just gets into all of the little nooks and crannies so beautifully, and it coats my lashes in 2 coats. If I want to make it a lot more dramatic, I can certainly go in with a 3rd coat and really build up that volume. But with just 2 coats, I am left with perfectly separated lashes that look fantastic. So, you guys, these are my 5 immediate repurchases right here. It was really hard because I also started thinking like, oh my gosh, what about my brushes? What about my primers? Lord knows this girl needs an eye primer because my lids are so oily. So I could really, I mean, there's a lot more than 5 things that I would repurchase right away. But yeah, I thought, you know, the makeup would be kind of fun to see. And I really want to know what you guys would pick. What would you immediately replace in your entire collection? Let me know down below. I think I might do this video. Maybe we'll do a part 2 next week where I talk about the makeup brushes that I love, because I do think that if those went away, there's a couple things that I would need immediately to get back in the makeup game. So let's do makeup tools next week. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your day. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. Please subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.